Tamika, what would you say to the Tamika, the 14-year-old Tamika, struggling little girl right now that may be pregnant? What would you say to her?
I think I would say to her, one, you are more than your circumstance, more than what has happened to you. Your body is yours, and no is a whole complete sentence. They save yourself, sis, because ain't nobody else coming to save you.
6 years ago, my wife took nothing but an ideal and faith and turned it into a multi-million-dollar business with multiple streams of income. As a woman possessed, she overcame all obstacles and created multiple streams of wealth that has impacted our family for generations to come. From mental health professional to therapist to author to CEO, she is a constant reminder of the grace of God over her life. Get ready to listen to and take notes from Stenell, the money therapist, as she schools you on money, entrepreneurship, and life skills that was not taught. No more excuses. Wake up!
Hey, smart people. I want to say thank you. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for listening to me. I launched No More Excuses podcast in September of 2020. We now have over 1,000 downloads. That is huge for me because I am literally a one-man show. My creative director, Trudy, she helps me in finding the right guest that is the right fit for the show, and she does all the creative pictures and the content, the different things that you see. When it comes to exactly what I am going to talk about, what form, that is me. All the edits is me. I don't have an editing team that I send my podcast to. When I have a guest, I want to fill that guest. I want to make sure I don't leave anything out personal to me. Please come over to Stenell, the Money Therapist on Instagram and Facebook. Each episode has a video from the guest or myself. I also started putting 10 minutes clips of each of the episodes on YouTube so you can physically see us in action. I thought it was important for you not only to hear me on these platforms such as iTunes or Spotify and Pandora, but also to be able to see us in action. And listen to them and see them and hear them. Everything is working together. So you can not only hear us, but now you can see us. Check me out on Instagram and Facebook at Stenell the Money Therapist. If you also want to talk to me, send me an email at contact@Stenell the Money Therapist. It is very important. I am asking you if you can please give me 5-star reviews on iTunes, because when I get to that point to monetize, it will be important those 5 stars and those comments are flowing. I am trying to give you as much information that I possibly can give you so you can be the best you that God created you to be. No More Excuses, Wake Up is very important to me because there's so much that we have inside of us that we are not doing. I'm here to help you get your money right and your business tight. Let's get started. Welcome back to No More Excuses, Wake Up, where we talk about money, entrepreneurship, and life skills that was not taught. I am your host, Stenell Myers, also known as Stenell, the Money Therapist. This week, we are talking about life skills. The definition of stigma is a mark of disgrace associated with a particular circumstance, quality, or person. My program officer, my girl, my homie, my friend, Tamika Chester. As Tamika explains, she was a girl interrupted. At the age of 13, Tamika became pregnant. Living in the inner city in Camden, New Jersey, she overcame every undesirable obstacle that was placed on her. She worked, she fought, she did whatever she had to do to make her life and her baby girl's life valuable. Tamika L. Chester values her faith, family, and community. She is dedicated to helping people ignite their passions, find their purpose, and achieve their life goals by connecting them to the people, places, and things that will aid them in doing so. One of Tamika's life mottos is, Be the change you wish to see the world, followed by just do it. Tamika grew up in the city of Camden, and after graduating from Rowan University in 1997, she joined AmeriCorps, a national service program that engages Americans in intensive service to meet the nation's critical needs in education, public safety, health, and the environment. During that year of service, Tamika provided over 1,750 hours of community service to the children, youth, and families living in the city of Camden. It was during that time that Tamika realized the true meaning of servant leadership and has been a catalyst for change in her community and work. Her irrepressible spirit gives her the ability to fiercely tackle life's downfalls and overcome adversity lovingly with humor, grace, and dignity. She is an active member of the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority, Inc., and has provided group or individual mentoring to over 150 young women over the past 25 years. Tamika currently works for the New Jersey Department of Education as a senior program officer for the 21st Century Community Learning Center grant program. Her work experience throughout southern New Jersey and Pennsylvania highlights over 25 years of documented successes in designing, implementing, monitoring, and evaluating youth programs, out-of-school time programs, positive youth development, parent and family engagement, and mentoring. Above all, and most importantly, Tamika is a beloved daughter of the Most High, a wife, a mother, a grandmother, a sister, and a friend. Hey, Tamika, how you doing, girl?
Hey, Stenell. What's up, lady? How are you?
I am good. I am so good. I am so happy that you are here, my girl from Camden, my peeps.
I am happy to be here.
My senior officer, my just everything.
I appreciate the invitation. So, it's always my honor and pleasure to do anything with you, for you. You know how we are.
Yes, I'm just ready to get started because when I invite people on the show, I strategically plan who is going to come on the show. And I knew, and I told you this before, I have ever have a podcast like you're right there because you have so much wealth of information and you just get down to the nitty gritty. You are a lady, but you know how to use a 42 if it was a 40 there. Like, you know how to be versatile. And that's what's needed. People just need to know who Tamika Chester is.
Oh, thank you, Stenell. Thank you so much.
So, honey, we are going to be talking about life skills today. And
okay, let's get into it.
We come from the same background. We both come from Camden, New Jersey. Although we did not grow up together, we crossed the same. We actually lived on the same block.
We actually lived on the same block at one point in time. Yeah, we did. We absolutely did. We were in the same circles at different times. It's crazy how much we have crossed each other's paths, but did not meet each other until most recently.
Yes, so, 6 years ago.
I know it's been 6 years.
Yes.
Yep. I'll never forget it. Going back and forth with you via email.
I was like, she mean.
I am so not mean, though.
And you're not. You are not mean. You're not. You are straightforward. You're straightforward, but you are not mean.
I am.
Let's just talk about, when we talk about life skills, it's so broad. It's so many things that we can talk about. But we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about motherhood and how it was for you growing up in the inner city and what you told me as a young mother.
Yeah. So first and foremost, happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day to you too. And
all
all the ladies that are listening.
Wonderful Mother's Day, and happy Mother's Day to all the women that are listening, whether you birthed someone of your own or you are serving in the role of motherhood. That could be an auntie, a mama, a grandma, whatever the case may be. Just happy Mother's Day and happy motherhood to everyone. And it's funny because as I think about Mother's Day, I have been a mother the better part of my entire life. I had my daughter when I was 14. I had just turned 14. I got pregnant when I was 13, had her when I was 14. But even before that, because of my life situation. And my mom, by the time she was 21, 22, she had 5 kids already. And I was the oldest of those 5. A lot of parental responsibility landed on my shoulders at a very young age. I would say I was parenting my brothers and sisters from like the age of 9 or 10. So I would keep them tight with me and look out for them. That was my role. I was adult at a very young age.
What did you say? You was an adult what?
Adultified.
Wow.
And that is when young people are ushered into adult lifestyles, behaviors for their time. I've always acted in a very adultish, mature way. Okay. I had to, being the oldest of 5. My mom had us very young, and I've come to grips with a lot of things that happened between us and the strife in our relationship, and just realizing that she did the best that she could, and she gave us what she was able to give us at that time. Becoming a parent at 14, oh my God, it changed my entire life.
I'm sure it did.
I'm actually thankful for getting pregnant, to be honest with you, because I was going down a road that I probably, and I always say this, and people are like, don't say that, but I know me, I probably would have ended up on drugs, or I might have ended up like a drug dealer's girlfriend, running drugs somewhere or something like that, because that was the type of crowd that I ran in. And I used to say, I think I would have ended up on crack. But the more that I think about that, I don't like drugs and I don't like being high. So I don't think I would have ended up on crack. That's why I'm like, you know what? I might have ended up going the other route. I can tell you, had I not had my daughter, I would not be sitting here having this conversation with you today.
Wow.
Because having her, you talk about no excuses, wake up. That was my wake up call. All I knew was that ultimately I did not want her to have any of the experiences that I had in my life. So then my whole life became focused on protecting this person that did not ask to come here, and making sure that, one, she didn't have the same life experiences that I have, because no one deserved that. She deserved a childhood. And 2, she didn't make the same mistakes that I made. And I was probably more fearful of her making those same mistakes that I made than anything else. It just shook me and straightened me right on up. So you figure that little 14-year-old girl in the 7th grade for the second time, that's right, y'all caught that, 7th grade for the second time, because I had actually gotten kicked out of school. Went to Morgan Village Middle School, and I had gotten kicked out.
Morgan Village.
Yep, Morgan Village.
Why you get kicked out of school?
For fighting. Girl interrupted.
You must to get kicked out. You must have.
I was a very angry person, and a girl interrupted because I had no power at home. When I was out in them streets, you can get these hands. You can still get these hands to this day. I'm still a work in progress.
Girl.
And that's just simply a protective factor. That's just simply a protective factor.
Girl, you are like speaking my language. When you said that, because you had what? You didn't have what at home?
I didn't have any power at home. I didn't have a voice at home.
Okay. Can you expound on that?
Well, I think that as a survivor of severe abuse, neglect, you lose your power in that. You have all of these things that are happening to you that you have no control over. And they're happening to you by people who are supposed to care for you and supposed to love you. What do you do? Well, as a child, you don't know what to do with all of that dysfunctionality. And we come up in the age of, you better not call DIFUS, because they're going to whip DIFUS ass too.
Girl.
All DIFUS. I really grew up feeling powerless, definitely unheard, unkept, unloved. And as a result of that, when I was out in these streets, I had this very hard exterior because I was always in a protection mood. I always wanted to protect myself and even still my family, because growing up in the hood, kids can be harsh. They can be. So if you don't have the things that you need, and if you don't have those nice clothes, and people know those problem kids, or they just know, and they can be rude.
Yes. Even
though my family was dysfunctional, I always felt I was going to protect them as well. So it didn't even matter. I know my mom is crazy, but you better not say nothing about her.
That's right.
I was a girl interrupted. But when I got pregnant and I remember getting put out of school for fighting, what the hell am I going to do now? I don't want to be uneducated, and this can't be my life. I woke up real fast and my focus became on my daughter, Tamika. And I remember when I was pregnant, so many people wrote me off. And I remember when they kicked me out of school because I got into a big fight in the cafeteria. Me and this girl fought so hard. We broke the brand new salad bar. It was a mess. But
this was before or after?
Before I had Muffy.
Tamika, you named your daughter Tamika after you.
Yes,
her
but
nickname
not by
is
choice.
Muffy.
I didn't want to. Her name would have been Alexis Dominique had I had my choice. But my cousin who was my mom said, name her Tamika. I had just turned 14. I was like, okay, but I really want to name her Alexis Dominique because Dynasty back then. And, I had visions of fabulousness for her. And I was like, Alexis Dominique, what's more fabulous than that? But my mom was like, name her Tamika. So I named her Tamika. And I am glad that I did because that is my namesake. That is my mini me.
Yes, it is.
Here's my heart. And I just really lived. I'm not going to say I lived for her, but every decision I made was based on wanting the best for her and my siblings at the time, because I was still serving in a parental role for my siblings as well. All right, get your shit together. Get back in school, because I was a smart girl. I was just bad. I was in AT classes and everything, but I was bad. I was so bad. It was just like, get your shit together and do what you got to do. And there was definitely some women that poured into me to counteract those naysayers, the ones who said I would never amount to anything and I was going to still be in the projects, living there for the rest of my life. But then there was the other women that God put in my life that was like, you can do anything that you want to do, anything that you want to be. Let me guide you along the way. I always say God is very fond of me because he has always placed people in my life to just cover me, even when I didn't know I needed to be covered. It was hard. Mom was like, you made that bed, you sleep in it. So you figure it out. And I had to figure it out. And I figured out how to work the welfare system back then. Like I remember standing in line for my food stamps and got my welfare ID, and I will keep it forever as a reminder of where I came from.
Wow.
And,
this is real.
Just to stay humble. For me, it's a matter of staying humble because I came from nothing. I've never had a desire. It's funny. I was with a friend of mine named Martino. A couple of weeks ago, we were having dinner together. And I asked him, I said, Martino, were you always like this extravagant? Were you always like this? And he was like, no, we grew up very poor, but I knew I always wanted to be extravagant. And I said, damn, I ain't dream big enough. You know what I mean? I said, I didn't dream big enough because for me, I subscribe to respectability politics in terms of you go to school, then you go to college, you get your bachelor's degree, you get your master's degree, you buy a house, you get married, all of those things.
Right.
Thought look like. So it was like
we all did
support those goals. I could do it all over again. Marriagehood, I would say marriage, overrated. Overrated. Parenthood, overrated. All that shit.
It is.
And if I had a chance to do it all again, I would definitely make different chances. But that is what success looked like to me back then. I'm a Cosby kid growing up watching the Cosby.
Yes, girl, we all are. Yes.
So that's what it was like. I'm going to college. I'm going to go get my master's. And every single goal that I've set for myself, I have achieved.
You accomplished it.
Not alone, but I accomplished every single goal. And it was hard. It was hard work. It was nothing easy about it. There was definitely a lot of setbacks in my life, but I never stopped moving forward. Period. Even in terms of taking tiny steps, it took a lot for me just to get out of middle school. And then going to high school, I had to catch 4 buses to and from just to get back and forth to school, making sure my daughter got to the daycare center. My mom didn't have a car. She didn't drive, but I was determined I was going to go. I was going to finish. I was going to see it through. And back then, it wasn't a lot of people out here with babies. I feel like I was the poster child for teenage pregnancy back then.
No.
Thereafter, a few years afterwards,
everybody started popping up.
They started popping them out. But when I got pregnant at 13, people wasn't popping them out.
No, not at 13. 14,
there was
you had
nothing. There was no showers. There was there was a lot of shame surrounded by all of it. It was a horrible experience. It was nothing nice about that experience. I'm gonna push through and I'm gonna get through. I remember though, just getting through high school, I didn't have a normal high school experience. There was no extracurricular activities for me because I had to go pick up my child after school.
Wow, that's real. So let me ask you, when you got pregnant, how did she react to your pregnancy?
I think she was disappointed, but not surprised. I think a lot of people were not surprised in terms of I was probably labeled fast. You know how they are in the hood,
Girl.
She fast. I wasn't fast. I had been violated by so many people growing up. I appeared to be fast because I had been sexually abused for a long part of my life. So what was perceived as me being fast was that girl interrupted by the people who were supposed to take care of me.
That's right.
Everyone in the neighborhood was calling me fast, but I didn't choose that fast route. Someone else chose that fast route.
Oh, yes, that is so powerful.
I think my mom was disappointed. I think that she might have been a little bit embarrassed as well. And then we also come from a time where it was like, I mean, I didn't even consider having an abortion, but they was just like, well, we don't do abortions. You know how we don't do abortion. So I was just like, well, I guess I'm having a baby. Damn.
Yep, girl, why that sound like my mom? So yeah, you were 14 and I got pregnant at 18. So that's why you said years later people started.
I'm telling you, it was like a few years later. Everybody was joining me. Yeah. But during that time, and it was deep because there was so much shame associated with it. Because nobody told me as a 14-year-old what was going to happen to my body being pregnant. I remember being in school. You see, I got my big boobies. I still have them.
Yes, girl. I remember
being in school in the 7th grade and my breast leaked. I kept saying, why is my shirt wet?
Wow.
I didn't even know anything about what was
happening.
This
is so real.
No one told me anything. When I went to the doctor's appointments, the nurses were very cold to me because I was a teenager. So nobody told me anything. I didn't know what to expect when I went into labor.
Is this before
3 days and 12 and a half hours? I thought I was going to die.
Is this before Planned Parenthood?
Planned Parenthood was around, but it wasn't as prominent. As I got older, I learned about all those services and things like that. At that time in 1986, a lot of things just was not as open as they are now and available and accessible. Even going through labor, I had both my children natural, but going through a natural childbirth at 14, and they didn't offer me no med. And it was
my gosh.
When that stuff was over, hence my son barely made it here by the skin of his chinny chin chin, because I ain't never want to have no more kids after that experience. It was horrible. It was a horrible experience. My little mini me, she rolled out with me. I made it through middle school. Slowly but surely, I made it through high school. I didn't go away to college because I couldn't. I wasn't leaving her home with my crazy mama and my crazy family. I was going to stay and protect her. So I went to community college. Slowly but surely. Everything was one obedient step at a time.
That's right.
And I actually graduated from community college.
Wow.
I actually graduated. For me, I'm a result-oriented person. So I like to start and finish stuff. So I was my associate's degree, I was proud.
You're right. I never heard of that.
I bet you don't know not one person.
I do not. Except right now. I've never heard, because I went to community.
On my wall.
Really? I went to community college and you just transfer your credits.
No, girl, I wanted my paper. I did something to say I finished. I did transfer into Rowan University, where I graduated and got my bachelor's. I graduated with a bachelor's in sociology and I minored in psychology. And I would catch the bus. Let me tell you something. I lived on Montgomery Avenue. I would catch the 400 bus.
I remember that bus.
Listen, yes. I put the bus to get to school back and forth every day. Get sure I scheduled my classes so that I could get to class, but get Muffy to daycare. But I did it. It was just, I'm unstoppable. I will not fail, period.
When you graduated high school,
an option for me.
And you went to college, did you go to Camden County College?
I went to Camden County College right downtown.
Okay, that's where I went. Okay, girl. Ain't no shade in that.
Then I got fancy and I started to catch the bus to the one in Blackwood. That's where I met my current husband, Mr. Michael Chester.
So how old was Muffy when you started college?
Maybe about 4 or 5.
Wow.
She was about 4 or 5. She would catch the bus with me sometime. I never remember. Me and Michael always laugh about this because I met him at Camden County College, and it was like the group of Black people that used to sit in the community room.
Yes, girl.
They used to be playing
I remember
spades.
The community. Yes.
Playing spades. I remember he used to, what's up? And it was right after Rodney King happened. Performing this rally. And he came up to me and said, yo sis, what's up? You coming to the rally? No justice, no peace. I said, hell no, I'm going to class.
So he always been like that?
Girl, always.
Oh my.
I always be teasing me. I was like, y'all was playing around going to rallies and stuff. I was going to class because I was about graduating. And then I started my career. I was introduced to a woman named Sharon Shields at Camden School-Based Youth Services. She offered me an internship for my last year. I had to do an internship. Did it at Lanning Square Elementary School, where I developed the homework and tutoring program for after-school programs. And she was impressed with my work. When I graduated, of course, I passed the class and she offered me a job. The job fell through. And I ended up doing AmeriCorps. My first year out of college, I was living in low-income housing in the projects. I took a job as an AmeriCorps volunteer where I worked pretty much full time back at Morgan Village Middle School. I went back at Morgan Village Middle School.
Wow.
Felt like a boss when I rolled back up in
I
there.
know you did.
Working AmeriCorps, you still couldn't tell me nothing because I had a whole office, a whole budget and everything. But my first year out of college, I did AmeriCorps and I always talk about them 1,750 hours volunteer work that I basically did. We got a stipend of $315 twice a month. I would have rather did that than to continue to be on welfare, but still give me my food stamps and still give me my low income housing. But I'm gonna go ahead and do this. I mean, instead of getting that $300 and some a month, at least I'm getting $315 twice a month, right?
That's right.
Talk about financial freedom fighters. I always been about that budget life. I didn't have any choice. And by the time I got there, I had 2 kids. Project, I moved out of my mom's house when I was 19 years old, took my little sister with me. And we was living in the projects and I had to learn how to budget. I had to learn how to hustle. I had to learn how to figure things out. There was no contingency plan.
That's right.
Nowhere to fall back. There was no one to go back home to. That was just never an option for me.
You know what, Tamika, when I listen to you, I always like to prepare myself and how the conversation is going to go when I have a guest on the show. And I was just thinking, as I was speaking to my daughters, we grew up in Camden. We grew up in the hood. And when you say 1986, now I was born in the 70s, and you mentioned you glad, thank God you wasn't on crack. That was when crack was like, and when you said that, I was like, hold up, because I was just looking at a documentary. That's when crack, and I remember the 80s, and crack was real.
Crack was really real.
We walked to school. I had to walk 10 blocks as a child. Our kids, they can't even experience that, because when I was taking my daughter to school today, I said, I can't believe I'm up like this early driving a 15-year-old to school when I walked when I was 6. It's real. Everything that you went through is, wow, it's completely different than what our children or what my child or my children have experienced, because we were literally doing a lot for ourselves. And now we always thinking about our children before ourselves.
Yeah, that's true. That's so true. It was really difficult for me to walk that line of how do I nurture my children in the way that they need to be nurtured. I had to unlearn a lot of unhealthy habits resulted as my childhood. So one was that whole self-sufficiency. I don't know that it's necessarily healthy and productive for 6-year-olds to be walking to school by themselves. I don't know that, looking back on it.
No, it wasn't, but we did it.
But we did it, you know what I mean? So it's like trying to find that balance was really difficult for me. Like my daughter will tell you, my mom was so hard on me. And by the time Asante came, go on with your dad, because I can't. Go to your daddy. But me and Muffy, we had an unbreakable pact and an understanding. People refer to us as the Tamikas, but the Tamikas were going to defy every stereotype.
Wow.
One said about a Tamika. You know, I laugh. I'd be like, I'm the slayer of stereotypes and statistics, because less than 1% of teenage parents at that time went on to graduate high school, let alone
that's right,
their degree. Their secondary degree, because
that's right,
degrees, you know what I mean? Because I include my associates.
That's what I was about to say. Wait a minute.
And I got my master's.
Like, wait, the third. Okay, yes.
And I do have my master's degree as well. A fun fact about me, I was actually the graduate speaker for my graduation when I graduated from getting my master's.
I can definitely see that.
A lot of my friends, I enjoy flying under the radar in all that I do, because I feel like it allows me to accomplish so much more. I learned at a very young age that when your light shines real bright, haters just... And I also learned in maneuvering my way professionally that flying just right under the radar kept me safe. Women could relate to me. Brothers respected me because I had enough edge. Well, we're not going to try her, but she good people. And professionally, they'd be like, she got a little edge to her, but she's really smart. She brings a lot to the table. And I was just really savvy in navigating professionally how to just navigate my way through the system. Starting off as a AmeriCorps volunteer, I was a site coordinator of a violence prevention initiative at Morgan Village Middle School called Peacemakers of Morgan Village. And then we got another grant called Communities That Care, which implemented a Catalana and Hawkins social development strategy. So I worked both of those grants while I was at Morgan Village Middle School and was very successful in doing that work. There's like, I have research that has been printed and, curriculums developed on how I worked that program. But what I really did was use a community youth development approach to what I did because I came from that hood.
Right.
Living in those projects.
That's right.
I knew what the single moms needed because I was the single mom.
That's right.
Knew what it was like to be on welfare because I was just one step away from still being on welfare. So I spoke their language.
Yes.
I connected with them on a deep level, not a surface level.
That's right.
So they found in my program, that was their safe place. You know what I mean? Like I put a pot of coffee on at 10 o'clock in the morning, turned Jerry Springer on in my office. I remember my secretary used to be like, Mr. Tamika, you is crazy. But my parents would just come in and just chill with me, talk to me. And that's how I created relationships with them to help connect them to the services, opportunities, or supports that they needed. I just continued to build a bridge, kind of like what I challenge my grantees to do now in their work. I became very successful at.
Yes, you do challenge us.
And I'm also a person who always took advantage of opportunities that were presented to me. I've always been blessed to have a seat at the table. One thing I would always do was observe, take it in, and then take it back, because I was always about saving my people and helping my people. In Camden, I had a lot of training opportunities. So they would send us over to the United Way of Southeastern Pennsylvania to get training. So I would go there and get the training, and then I would come back and train my staff and then invite other people. And it was funny because it became this thing where the United Way knew that this is what I was doing. So they would give me even more information. And do you want to be a part of this? And do you want to do this? I'm not going to force feed anybody. If you want it and I got it, I'm going to give it to you. This is what I have. I have access to this. I can provide you with this. I'm not the person that'll drag somebody kicking and screaming. You don't want it? Somebody else will get it.
That's right.
Person, you're going to have to come get it. I'm just not going to drag anyone screaming and kicking. As a result of the work that I did between the United Way of Southeastern Pennsylvania and Camden City School District and Camden City School-Based Youth Services, both of the grants ended simultaneously. I actually needed a break. And I was tired because I had been grinding, girl. Grinding.
So you was working them together?
Mm-hmm. I managed all of the grants at one time. So when the grant ended, I need a break. I just need a woosah. I volunteered and did packing across New England with a youth group and came back. I ran into the director of the Center for Youth Development, who had been providing all the training that I would go back and train the folk in Camden.
Uh-huh.
Tamika, what you doing? I was telling her, I said, well, nothing right now. I needed a break. And she was like, wait, you're not working? And I was like, no, I just needed a break. It was summertime. I was happily collecting unemployment and chilling.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Real talk.
I got a job for you. I was like, word? She was like, oh yeah. She almost hired me on the spot, but I did have to go through the process. That's when my real career in positive youth development and program design and implementation came from working under Dr. Cheryl Oakman at Center for Youth Development over in Pennsylvania. And that is where I flourished. And they provided us with so many opportunities. And that's how I became a certified trainer in so many different areas. I took advantage of it.
Right.
It's funny because we were so ahead of the curve in what we did. The work that we did was trailblazing that, sometimes coming back to Jersey, I'd be like, we already did this back in 2002, but all right, we going to do it. That's where I made a name for myself. And really, we just really did some amazing work. Every place that I landed was just very natural for me. Even becoming a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, it was a perfect fit. It was not even, I just wanted to be amongst women who were about the business. I'm about business. Like, I'm about making shit happen and outcomes and doing what needs to be done. Like, I really don't want to talk about, it's like, if something needs to be done, what do we need to do?
Let's do it.
When I left Center for Youth Development, I worked at the Philadelphia School District for about 2 years as an emergency crisis response manager, which was crazy. I responded to critical incidents throughout the city. So that was murders, death, suicide, serious sexual assaults.
This was in Philadelphia?
And the only job I ever quit. After about 18 months, I could not take seeing that much death. And it was a very toxic environment, and I left. I quit. I didn't even have a job lined up. Once again, I took a step out on faith and I quit and ended up back here in New Jersey working for Pat Bruder at the Educational Information and Resource Center. And I managed all of their New Jersey After 3 grants. And
remember New Jersey?
New Jersey After 3 came to a halt.
Yes, I remember that.
They were defunded, and I found myself, and I asked Pat, I said, listen, just lay me off. I had also developed my training and technical assistance company. So I was already doing consultant work, and I was just like, lay me off. That way I can get unemployment and then really do my consultant business full time. So in 2010 is when I established my training and consultant business full time. Doing really, really well, but I did not like entrepreneurship. I knew after that year that it was not for me. I didn't like anything about it, but I was still good at it. I just didn't like it.
Like what?
I didn't like working solo. I didn't like the hustle and grind of it. I didn't like the feast or famine of it. I just didn't like it. I work better in a team setting. I need that synergy. I get energy. I vibe off of other people's energies. My brain doesn't work like that.
How did you get started with that back in 2010, starting the consulting?
I had started doing consultant work back when I was still working in Camden at Rowan University. From come back and train staff and then open it up to other staff as well. People just started to reach out to me and be like, can you come train my staff? And I was like, okay. I ain't know nothing about it back then. I was like, you gonna pay me $60 an hour to come and talk? Yeah. So I was doing a lot of training for school districts during that time. But it wasn't until I got over into Philly, you only charge $60 an hour. Oh no. And once I started getting my training certifications and I understood how much my time and my research was worth, well, then that changed the whole game.
Yes.
I really began to charge differently. And plus with the more certifications I got, my price would go up. And then it was still people that I worked with. And it was just word of mouth. Dawn Rice Bivens, before I even came anywhere near 21st Century, she met one of my staff members through talking to her, reached out to me, and I was training her staff for a few years before she even got the 21st Century grant. I was already doing it. Once that job ended in 2010, this is a viable career. This is a viable solution to get money. I have excellent relationships. One thing about me, there's three things about me. My God-given talent is three things. One, I am extremely relational. I make good relationships and I keep them. I massage my relationships. My relationships are important to me.
You do.
They are really important to me. So that's why I'm extremely relational, resourceful. I am not a jack of all trades, but I have mastered mine. But I know everyone who does whatever it is that they do. I know how to connect people, places, and things.
Yes, you do.
Purpose. That's a gift that God gave me, and I know how to work it. I am resourceful. I'm relational. I have an irrepressible spirit. Nothing will keep me down. Even when I'm down, I'm still joyful. There's still joy in my heart, even when I'm struggling. I just have an irrepressible spirit. I will never, until I am dead in the ground, I never give up. And things always work in. And
that's good.
They just do. Like, God is so fond of me.
They
say he loves fools and babies, honey. He is so fond of me, but
I love your confidence.
Like, I just think about, and I'm just giving you a snippet. This is not even, we haven't even scratched the surface of who I am, what I've been through, what I've overcome.
I know.
I mean, that would be a whole nother podcast.
I know.
My 20-some year gambling addiction, finally getting into that and getting a hold on to that and where that came from. So that's my thing. I am a compulsive gambler. Just understanding where that even comes from. It took me years to unpack that and lean into it and to get the help that I need. I still gamble, but I am nowhere where I used to be. I am nowhere where I used to be. And I actually thank the pandemic for that. It just so happened that when 2010 happened, what made me develop my company and get my business registration and stuff, when they told me that I would get paid quicker if I had an EIN number as opposed to my social security number. Baby, when it
Keep
comes
it real. Keep it real.
Coins, that's all they had to do is tell me one time. Oh, all I need is an EIN number and it only costs $125? Baby, over the weekend, I got my business. I had my business registration, some business cards, a little place where you get them for like $9.99. Girl, it was done. You ain't got to tell me nothing twice. That's how I started my business in 2010, and I worked it for a year. I had some substantial contracts with the Philadelphia School District, the United Way. I was maintaining. I wasn't happy. I was making it work. I'm not one for doing things that don't make me feel good.
Okay.
When the opportunity to apply for the 21st Century program officer position came along. It was actually one of my former bosses that sent the posting to me. You should apply for this. I'm not a government person. I'm pretty sure they're not going to want me. She was like, you are the right person. I don't know. And I remember, I'll never forget, Pat Brutus out. You may not be a government person. And I remember she hounded me to submit my resume. And I was like, oh my God, all right, Pat, I'm going to submit this resume because she ain't going to stop asking me. She wrote me a reference letter and everything. And so now when they called me for an interview, I almost cussed.
I remember you told me, and that's exactly what you told me.
You got to be kidding me. And there was about 127, I think it was, people that passed the paper screening. And then it was the people that they interviewed. It was one of the most grueling interviewing processes I've ever gone through because it was a group interview and it was like 3 different interviews and writing, and it was a lot. But when they called and offered me that job, I almost cussed again. You gotta be kidding me. Are you serious?
Wow, you didn't believe it.
I couldn't believe it. And because I was a consultant, a full-time consultant at that time, I had to negotiate my salary. And what they made me do was in my negotiation process, because they want to always bring you in at step 1. And I was like, oh, I can't do that. I make more than that consultant. Like, I'm dumb. But what they did was I had to actually submit 3 years of tax returns to prove that.
Really?
I had to, yeah. Mm-hmm. I submitted my tax return. It's actually 2 years tax returns along with my contracts that I were currently in, but I got my salary that I asked for. That's when I ended all of my contracts. I had to end all of the contracts I was working with by December the 31st, because they need 90 days. As a consultant, you need 90 days to end your contracts. And then I started working for the Department of Education in 2011, and I never looked back. It is my dream job. I am using every gift, like everything that I have experienced in my entire life.
Yes.
To this particular position.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy.
Yeah.
And that works my last nerves, but I do know, like, just looking, like, as I write my book out and tell my story slowly but surely, to just see how every connection.
Yes. Yeah. And
it's
you just did
amazing.
that. You just did that. You took us from start all the way to now. And I can see it. If you were writing it down, I can actually see how it connected to where
it was, everything has been connected. It's just like the stars and the moons always lined up for me. I took advantage of it. I did the work. And that's why I'm so passionate about everything that I do. So when you say no more excuses, wake up, I am a no more excuses kind of girl. Sometimes I can be really, really hard on people because there are no excuses. I'm a very straightforward person. Either it is or it isn't.
And let me ask you a question. Do you think that because you're so straightforward and you say there's no excuses, do you think that because what your past and what you've been through kind of geared you to saying there's no excuses? Because
absolutely,
I definitely found a way to make it.
And I think more so with my no excuses is I'm not perfect. I am the most imperfect, flawed person there is, but I am acutely aware of that. And I don't bullshit about it. For me, it's very difficult. So when I say no excuses, if I forget something, I don't say, oh, such and such. I say, shit, I forgot. What do I need to do to make this right? Or if I've done something wrong to someone, I own it. And that could be years of therapy and counseling, but I own everything that I am. If I'm at work and I drop the ball, it don't matter why I dropped the ball. It don't matter if my dog died. It don't matter. None of it matters. I dropped the ball. What do I need to do to get back on track? And that's how my mind works. When I think no excuses, it's not, I recognize that not everyone handles situations and circumstances in the same way. Get that, but handle your shit. Don't push it off on everyone else. So that's what I mean by no excuses. For instance, me and my daughter, she's 35. We parent completely differently. We love completely differently. She has a right to be who she is. And that's one thing that I respect and honor in people is be who you are. But I'm not good with bullshit. When it gets to that, I'm like, I'm gonna have to pass you off to somebody else because we're gonna probably end up in a fight because I'm also not gonna go back and forth with you. What can I do to get you where you need to be? How can we make sure that this doesn't happen again? What is it that you need? It's interesting because a lot of people have asked me to be their coach and I'd be like, no. Mm-hmm. I don't think I would be a good coach. The first time you don't follow up, I'll be like, well, she ain't really interested, so.
And tell me how that's going because I know you was coaching someone and you had it specifically written out and you showed me and I was like, oh my gosh, how is that going?
Not good. We paused. Girl, I don't be having time. I'll be like, listen, when you ready, let me know. No, it's not, and that's my girl. I love her. When you ready, let me know.
It's not personal.
It's not personal, but
you're not ready.
And when she's ready, I will be right here with her, still all of my stuff. When the pandemic hit, it impacted me hugely, Stenell.
I know.
As you know, you and I talked. I was ready to have a hot girl summer. I was leaving my husband. I was getting me an apartment. I had all of these.
Do you want me to edit this part out?
Nope.
Oh, okay. See this right here. This right here. This is why I asked for her to be on the show. Did you hear me? Because I asked her, did you want to edit it out? She said nope, because this right here is real 101 right here. When the pandemic hit and we went on lockdown, I was like, this is not. You know what? You was, because you had a whole plan.
That's another podcast for another day.
That's another podcast for another day. You sure?
As I said,
hold up, we got a pandemic.
But then the pandemic hit and it put everything on hold. I immediately went back into intensive counseling and therapy. The state shut down on March the 17th. By March the 30th, I was already in contact with a counselor, a Black woman, Michelle Duffy. We had already set up our Zoom sessions. We started off meeting weekly. I was just, I had a whole transition plan in place and everything just stopped. I need help. I do this by myself. And through working with her this entire year, she's been such a blessing to me. But what she also says is, nah, you got to do the work, sis. And you did the work. You did what needed to be done. And that intensive, it really just helped me to navigate through. It helped with my marriage in terms of there was a lot of healing that needed to happen, a reestablishment of our friendship, because at the core of who me and my husband was that we were friends. We were each other's person. And we had to reestablish that. Not to say that this summer won't be a hot girl summer. We still trying to figure things out, but we are in a much better place than we were pre-pandemic. Had to do the work.
That's right.
It was not about me looking at him, worrying about what he was doing. It was looking at me and figuring out what I wanted in my life and what I needed to rectify, places that I needed to heal and places, that I needed to do. Spent the entire pandemic working on me. Everything around me kind of just fell into whatever place it should be.
Wow, that's powerful and that's honest.
I was gonna beat my whole staff up. I'll never forget that. I know everybody still remember that because they thought I was some bougie chick, and I was like, "You don't know who you playing with? What? All y'all come on outside, yeah." But I got in a lot of trouble about that. There are consequences.
Yes, there is, Tamika.
There's always going to be consequences for your actions and behaviors. But Dr. Stella Horton believed in me, and she's the first one that got me into anger management and conflict resolution. And I just continued on and really learned how to manage my emotions and my anger. And there's always a right and a wrong way to handle a situation. And I've learned how to respond to situations as opposed to react to situations.
I like that.
In my flesh, it's not going to be good.
Right.
It never ends well.
It never is, yeah.
She could have fired me.
I asked you, what are 3 things you want people to know about you? And you said that I have been operating in my God-given talents and abilities, which have always opened doors for me and provided me a seat at the table. The 3 things people need to know about me is that I am resilient, relational, and I have a irrepressible spirit.
I think for me, I've never lied on my resume. Let me just say that. And I've never lied about what I am capable of and what I'm not capable of. And I lean into things that I'm good at. If I see that I'm really good at something, then I'm leaning into it. And if I see that I'm not that I won't challenge myself, but I'd rather focus on something I'm good at and become great at it than sit over here and struggle at something that ain't my thing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. For me, it was always leaning into what I was really good at. I'm really good at making connections. I'm telling you, I can meet you one time. I may forget your name the older I get, but I don't forget your purpose. I don't forget what you said to me. I can meet someone a year later and be like, I know someone I need to connect you and put you in touch with. I'm a connector. I'm a catalyst. I make things happen. And that's just who I am. And I'm okay with not receiving the shine. I play the background. I just like to smile and kind of keep it moving. Mm-hmm. Everybody don't need to know I did that.
Just talking to you this entire time, you just so Tamika. You just so laid back. You just so Tamika. Girl, you just so real. And you just. Thank
you.
And that's why I said in the beginning, you could put on that corporate hat and come over here and you could sit down with the people with the 40s and chill. Like you completely move where you need to move and still be your humbling, authentic self.
Thank you.
And that's what's cool about you.
Thank you.
I like that. We all have words of affirmation that empower us. What words of affirmation would you like to share with the listeners? And you said, faith without work is dead. Always operate in excellence. If you're not going to do it right, don't do it at all. Excuses are tools of incompetence. Mm-hmm. Work hard, play harder.
Yes, that's probably my favorite one.
Yes. Which one?
All of them. Faith without works is dead. I lean on that because I often hear, and don't get me wrong, I love my church folk. I love God. People are like, oh, I'm praying for this. I'm praying for this. And I'll be like, well, are you doing anything about it? Are you doing anything? Are you doing anything? You just sitting there waiting for God to open up a door for you? Will you let me know how that work out? And I'm going to go on over here and, do whatever it is I need to do. So I do believe faith without works is dead. So if you believe something, then you need to work toward what it is that you believe in. Of course, always deferring to God. You will know if you are doing as you are supposed to do, because God will just lead you in that direction and open every single door that needs to be opened for you. You won't even have to ask. He will, but you have to believe that.
Yeah.
So faith without works is dead is extremely important to me. And that whole work hard, play harder is my life mantra. It ain't never going to change. People be like, you are a hot mess. I am. I work really hard though. I work really hard. I am one of those people that I'm giving 100%. I would say 90% of the time you're getting 100% from me. There's times everybody slacks a little bit and falls back, but 90% of the time you're getting 100% from me. When I'm off and when it's time for me to play, girl, I'm playing hard. I'm having a good time. If it don't fit, listen, if it don't make me feel good, if it don't make me look good, I don't want to have nothing to do with it.
So I'm going to let everybody know. One time we was at the casino. I always share this story. Y'all need to know this. This right here is my girl. We work together. She have my back. Every single thing. But let me tell you, I did not know this part. She put me in my entire lane. And now I know. You don't know things all the time. And Tony and I we went to the casino. We at the Borgata, and he's like, text me. And I'm texting. And I text you like 3 times. I'm like, I know she's here. She told me she's here. Now, do I walk around, look for? I don't know where she's at. I said, but she's not texting me back. And
was in a zone.
Put me in my place and said, listen, I love you, girl. But and we saw each other, but I felt like she gave me a period of time. And we were there. She was doing her thing. And it was over. I had to go. And it wasn't like you got to go. I felt it. I was like, well, you know what? I'm going back to my room.
Anyone that comes to the casino with me, I used to go just solely to gamble. That was my thing. I eat what I eat. Over the pandemic, because I went without gambling so long, had to slowly transition back into it. I learned how to do other things.
Good.
So I actually really do. I luxuriate now a little bit.
Okay. Okay.
So I don't just leave my friends, but all my friends know, whether you're part of, if you my friend, you my sister circle, you in the diva den, you a soror, all of them know I'm going to give you a little bit of time. I got to go have my me time. I'm an advocate of radical self-care. You know what I mean? Not just because it is a buzzword right now, because everyone is, self-care Sundays, self-care this, self-care that. Self-care goes way beyond just getting the mani and pedi and sipping on some champagne. Self-care is, once again, doing the work to make sure that you are maintaining your mental health.
That's right.
Cleaning out your mess.
That's right.
With you doing whatever it is to make sure that your space is conducive for you for growth to happen. That goes beyond a panty petty. Taking that time off, it requires you setting boundaries that you love.
This has been a great opportunity for me to share with others, just you in a different light, everything that you've been through. I want to just say thank you. Thank you for being that woman that encouraged other women. Your encouragement, it shows through your workmanship and everything that you do. Before we leave, I am going to ask you a question. What would you say the 14-year-old Tamika, struggling little girl right now that may be pregnant, what would you say to her?
Damn, Stenell.
Girl, I'm a therapist.
Oh, God. I think I would say to her, 1, you are more than your circumstance, more than what has happened to you. Your body is yours, and no is a whole complete sentence. Yeah. I would tell her that she is beautiful way beyond just her body, that she is intelligent and articulate, that she is going to impact generations years beyond what she could ever even think of. I know for a fact, without a shadow of a doubt, the amount of young women that I've mentored, like literally me and Muffy have gone down and counted them. I know I have had a positive impact on hundreds of young girls, young women's lives. I know that I gave more than this world than I ever took. So I would tell her to stay encouraged. Don't listen to the naysayers. And I would also tell her that she is worthy of love, pleasure, satisfaction, and that being a martyr for anything, there's no honor in it. Yeah, that's what I would say to my 14-year-old self. Say, save yourself, sis, because ain't nobody else coming to save you.
Just waiting for you to say
I would say be kind and gentle with yourself and forgive yourself. Go ahead and live out loud and be extra and be fabulous. Lean into it. Don't be afraid to wear the sparkly stuff. I would probably tell her don't fly under the radar as much. Wow. Flying under the radar is definitely a protective factor for me. You know, as long as you fly under the radar, nobody really fucks. Ooh.
Say it.
As long as you fly under the radar, nobody really fucks with you. But I would tell my 14-year-old self, don't fly under the radar. Be bold. That's what I teach my granddaughter now. Be bold, baby. Be all of that. You want to wear a crown today? Put that crown on and go on and walk down the street and wear it. And a lot of those things that I wouldn't do because I was so tight. So afraid of how people would think and feel about me or they would say about me. I would definitely tell myself, do it anyway. They're going to talk about you anyway, girl. No matter what you do, they're going to talk about you. Do what you want to do. Do what you do. What makes you feel good. Definitely no is a whole statement.
Powerful.
No, period. No one has domain over your body but you.
There we go.
Yeah.
Y'all got this. Tamika Chester.
Yes, ma'am.
Like I always say, because you know the title is No More Excuses, Wake Up. Always say y'all better go out there and do what y'all need to do. No more excuses, y'all better wake up.
Listen here, and y'all already know not only, listen, No More Excuses, Wake Up is a lifestyle. It ain't just a brand. It ain't just a word. It ain't just a term. It's a lifestyle. No more excuses. Wake up, people.
You heard it. Hey, smart people. I have a 3-month one-on-one personal or business coaching program. As you all know, I paid off $50,000 in debt in 1 year. I will teach you how I stayed out of debt using my burner method and personalized spreadsheet I created to fit my lifestyle and keep me on track. You will learn how to understand your money communication style using my financial treatment plan. Also, if you own a small business and you feel stuck with cash flow or feel disorganized, I teach business owners and self-employed entrepreneurs such as yourself to financially maximize your money, build wealth, using your business income, and retire working on the business while your business continues to run, such as myself. You can book a call with me. The link is in the show notes. Thank you for listening to No More Excuses, Wake Up. If you love the show, please subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes or Spotify. To learn more about me and my different agencies and what I do, go to StenellMyersEnterprises.com. While you're there, check out Money Therapy Institute and watch my video where you will see me doing a little acting, showing you how I fought and kicked down closed doors. You can also click on Stenell the Money Therapist and get my free budget spreadsheet. And of course, you can email me at contact@StenellTheMoneyTherapist.com. I'm also on social media on Facebook at Stenell the Money Therapist and Instagram at Stenell the Money Therapist. No more excuses. Y'all know what y'all need to do. Wake up.